This video is recorded to help my students to understand how to do the calculation related with estimating the population proportion. Point estimate is a single value or point used to approximate a population parameter. The sample proportion p hat is the best point estimate for population proportion. So how to estimate a population proportion? We will use p hat subtract the margin error to p hat add margin error, construct a confidence interval. Then with a given confidence level, we can say the population proportion is inside this confidence interval. So here E is the margin error. E is calculated by this formula, Z alpha over 2 multiplied square root of P hat multiplied Q hat divided by N. Here P hat is a sample proportion, Q hat is 1 minus sample proportion, N is the sample size, and alpha is 1 minus confidence level. If your confidence level is 90%, then alpha is 1 minus 0.9, which is 0.1. So Z alpha over 2 is the z-score such that the probability for a random pick z value greater than this z alpha over 2 is alpha over 2. So if you look at the picture, z alpha over 2 is this z-score such that the probability for a random pickup z value is greater than z alpha over 2 is alpha over 2, which is this tail. Okay. So another calculation we need to do is related to the population proportion is to calculate the sample size that is needed in order to obtain the desired confidence level interval and the margin error. The formula used here is this. If we load the p hat, then the size we needed is n equals z alpha over 2 square multiplied p hat multiplied q hat divided by e square. Here e is the margin of error and z alpha over 2 we just explained. So, however, sometimes if we do not have proportion of the sample, then we will use this formula. Notice this formula is just come from this formula by assume that the p equal q equals 0.5. Okay, so this will help you to memorize or understand the formula. Now let's say example. City managers wish to implement an anti-smoking ad campaign for the city. They need an accurate estimate of the percentage of the city dwellers that smoke. Use 99% confidence with a margin of error 3%. If no accurate estimate for P is available, how large a sample of the city residents would be necessary to obtain the desired confidence and the margin of error? So for this case, we need to calculate the sample size. We need to estimate the sample size in order to get desired confidence interval and margin error. So by this formula, so we need to know alpha, then calculate z alpha over 2. Since we don't know p and don't know q, we will use this formula 0.25, replace p hat multiply q hat. Then the margin of error he gave to you is 3%. So we first type in what we have. Alpha is equal 1 minus 0.99, that's 0.01. Z alpha over 2, if you look at it here, is this area. So I will use what alpha over 2 is this area. This score, we did say this score is this number. So we calculate will be like this, equal normal standard deviation inverse. The probability is 1 minus alpha over 2, right? So which will be H11 divided by 2. Why? Because this formula calculate the give the probability on the left side of this score. Since on the right side is alpha over 2, so on its left side is 1 minus alpha over 2. If you look at it, on his right side is alpha over 2, so on the left side is 1 minus alpha over 2. Okay, so now the margin of error is given is 0.03. So to calculate the n is simple. So we just directly use formula equal z alpha square. Z alpha is in H H12 square multiply 0.25, then divided by E square, which is H13 square. Okay, calculate this. So we got a number is 1843.02. So we round it up. We can answer the question, say the sample size need to be 1844. Okay, let's continue this example. So a preliminary small-scale study of 100 city residents showed that 27 smoked. What is the point of estimate p hat? So the p hat will equal the proportion in the sample, so will be 27 divided by 100. Okay. After you calculate p hat, of course you will know 1 minus p hat is the q hat. So 1 minus p hat is the q hat. Okay. Now, then he used the point estimate from the preliminary study to determine how many city residents should be included in a large-scale study to determine the percentage of city residents that smoke. Now, again, this time we need to estimate the sample size we need, but this time the sample size we load the p hat, load the q hat, because he asked you to use this. Okay, so again, we first calculate alpha. Alpha is 1 minus 0.99, right? Then z alpha over 2 equal normal standard inverse. Then the probability is 1 minus alpha over 2, because the probability is on the left side of this z-score. But alpha over 2 is the right tail, so you do that. Then you calculate E. Now this time your E is given, still use as 0.03, so 0.03. Then now I calculate my N will equal, again use the formula, I just type the formula, this score is at H17 square multiply P hat, which is in H13, multiply Q hat, which is in H14, then I divided by margin of error square 0.0. Well, I probably want to use the cell reference, which is E18, then square. Okay, so this gives us 1454%. Okay, now last question related to this problem. This time, the result of the large-scale study from the part C showed that 29% of these city residents served smoked. Use this information from the large-scale study to write a 99% confidence interval for the percentage of all city residents who smoke. So we need to know what is the p hat. He tell you p hat is 0.29. Okay, so the q hat is 1 minus p hat, which is H13. Oh, I forgot to type of equal, sorry. So type of equal. Now then N is the study, how many N we need from the previous study. Previous study shows we need 1454. So I type 1454. Okay. Oh, then alpha is still 99%, equal 1 minus 0.99. And z alpha over 2 is the same thing. I use normal standard distribution inverse, and the area is on the left side of this z-score, so you need to write the area on the right tail, which is 1 minus alpha over 2, so which give you H15, no, not H15, H16 divided by 2. So then I calculate the margin of error. Now this margin of error, I will use the formula here, which equal z alpha over 2, which is my H17, multiply square root of p hat, which is in H13, multiply H14, then divide by n, which is H15. Okay, so this will give me margin of error. Now the upper limit of the confidence interval will be p hat plus the margin of error. So p hat is in H13 plus margin of error is H19. Okay, the lower limit will be H 13 minus H 19. Okay, so this will give me the confidence interval then from 32% to 25.9%, 32.07% to 25.93%. Okay, so this is one of the test point. That means the student need to know how to do the calculation related to the population proportion. One is calculate the confidence interval. Another is calculate the sample size needed in order to get the desired confidence interval with the given margin error. If you have any questions, please send me email.